Curse of Dreadbear and Help Wanted 2's protagonist has kept people confused for half a decade now, with no answer in sight, until Secret of the Mimic came along that gave us characters, context, and more to help decide who the player is that goes and retrieves the Vanny mask, as well as passes it along to the innocent child that is Cassie. A character no one expected to show up again, yet has faced off with the Mimic in a distant past that not many people remember, keeping the Mimic's secret hidden under lock and key. Hello everyone, my name is Noah Raven and welcome to the Xander Zone. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about all the mysteries and Easter eggs within the Help Wanted DLC Curse of Dreadbear, and how Secret of the Mimic helps us solve the most weird and confusing details that this DLC brings us, along with Help Wanted 2's protagonist. Though, as always, if you enjoy this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. I won't hold you here any longer, so let's get right into the video. The protagonist of the main game of Help Wanted is pretty cut and dry. It's Vanessa A, who we later encounter in Security Breach and further entries. We know this due to the Vanny mask and glitch plush conversation after you obtain the Vanny mask from Curse of Dreadbear, as well with Vanessa becoming Vanny, showing us that the protagonist that fell under the control of Glitch Trap was Vanessa. Though a topic I and many other theorists I've seen bring up is who is the protagonist of Curse of Dreadbear. Canonically, what happens would have to be after the events of Help Wanted and after when Vanessa turns into Vanny. So there's two answers to this. It would be Vanny or someone else. This someone else has been thought to be characters such as Michael, Crying Child, or even Gabriel, the kid who goes on to possess Freddy Fazbear. Though I have an idea I haven't seen anyone bring up. Arnold from Secret of the Mimic. Now, before you raise your pitchforks at me, let me explain this by going through both Curse of Dreadbear and then Help Wanted 2, and you'll see how there's so many references to this guy that it seems Arnold influences these games in some way at the very least. Curse of Dreadbear has a lot of minigames, and we're going to start with the first category within Curse of Dreadbear, as this is our weakest piece of evidence that comes from this category. First, we have the Plushkin Patch. Now, at first glance, these guys don't really seem important. They're just the plush babies with masks on their face. However, it's not the fact that they have masks on their face, but rather just the plush baby themselves. As when you look at the plush baby, you'll notice there are three different colors. A red one, a blue one, and a yellow one. A detail on the yellow one is the eye being missing. So how does this connect us to Secret of the Mimic? Well, in Secret of the Mimic, you can find these Star Orphan nightlights throughout the game, in which there's a red one, a blue one, and a yellow one, with the yellow one yet again missing the same eye, in which the yellow plush baby is also missing, the right eye. Drawing some form of connection between these plush babies that we see in Help Wanted 1, Help Wanted 2, Ruin, Security Breach, and everywhere else in these Steel Wool games to these orphan nightlights. We also know that Arnold throughout the game obtains all of these Star Orphan nightlights at one point or another, no matter what path you take, thus starting our connections between Arnold and Curse of Dreadbear. The log ride is also interesting, as this one is also a recurring theme throughout these games within Help Wanted, Ruin, and Help Wanted 2. Though in Help Wanted 1 there's an interesting theme here. A boat party in which an octopus attacks you, and at the end, friendship was the answer all along. Now, Secret of the Mimic, this is a connection to the Rocktopus attack in the hand puppet show, along with the secret ending in Secret of the Mimic, in which you essentially turn M2 into David.
The moral of the story is that friendship is the real treasure.
Both of which Arnold would experience throughout Secret of the Mimic, depending on the ending you get. So far we have found two connections to Secret of the Mimic, but this last one is the most loose one. In the corn maze, we are trapped in an area with Grim Foxy, a glowing nightmarish version of Foxy that requires us to get 4 keys to find a 5th key to unlock a secret area, being the cellar. Now, the only thing we could think of here is Nightlight within Secret of the Mimic, since it's a character stalking us in a dark area where we need to get 4 pieces, being the modules, to turn the power back on, to unlock a 5th item, being David's ball, to unlock a secret area later in the game, which is the secret ending. Again, drawing a connection between something Arnold experienced and what's being shown to us in Curse of Dreadbear. Now we get into the second category. This is where this theory really starts to tie together with the references to the Murray Costume Manor and the area around it. The first minigame is Hallway Crawl. Now, this is the hardest one to piece together, as the only thing this could bring to us is the FNAF 4 references we get in Secret of the Mimic. Why are your eye colors different? Throughout Curse of Dreadbear, many characters have their original eye color replaced. For example, Nightmare Bonnie from their original Nightmare eyes to these orange eyes. While on my notes from Helpwad 1 and Curse of Dreadbear, Raitos was the one who pointed out that this eye color is the same texture as the Mimic's eye texture we see in Ruin, and with the references of FNAF 4 and Secret of the Mimic, and the Mimic being involved somehow. That's how we could draw our connection to these minigames in Secret of the Mimic and Arnold yet again. Then we go into Build a Mangle. This one is extremely straightforward, as what do you do in this minigame? You recycle, and what is Edwin somehow known for inventing? The Mimic recycling. Yeah, Edwin invented recycling in the FNAF universe. We know this from the line given to us when we meet Dolly for the first time in Secret of the Mimic.
Welcome to the world's first recycling center. Basically, we take trash and turn it into cash. To explain how it all works, let me introduce one of our many hard-working recycling automations.
This is how we could draw that connection between the minigame and Secret of the Mimic. You kind of get where I'm going from here, right? Now, Trick or Treat is an interesting one, as it's the only one that takes place at a manor within this DLC. In this minigame, you're essentially trick-or-treating while the Wizards, Balloon Boy, and Mangle are the ones that give you candy or kill you if you aren't wearing their corresponding masks. Behind you, you have some eyes looking at you from the dark, and a door that randomly opens and closes when you look at it if it opens. Though, the real connections start to form when you look around to the yard and past the yard. This minigame takes place on top of a hill, and we are at a manor. Now in Secret of the Mimic, Edwin's home is a manor on top of a hill. Pretty clear connection, though if you look to the right when you turn around, there are 3 graves. Now 3 is interesting to have here, as how many people would have died in the Murray family? 3. Edwin, Fiona, and David. 2 bigger graves for the adults, and 1 smaller grave for the child. This one is harder to draw to Arnold specifically, as the only thing I could think of is him going to Edwin's home and what we believe to be the canon ending, the parachute ending. Now this last one is the most interesting of the bunch, Dreadbear. In this minigame, you're in what seems to be the attic of the manor. However, Dread Unit tells you that you are in research and development.
Welcome back to Research and Development. Today,
in which research and development is a part of really any business. However, it is really pointed out to us in Secret of the Mimic. However, that's not the most important part here. Rather, what you have to do to fix Dreadbear. You have a brain, and you do fun things. However, you have to adjust the frequency to bring it to life as a part of the process. Now, frequency is very important in Secret of the Mimic due to the fact of M1 acting like Fiona due to Edwin finding the frequency of 4625, aka the ghost radio, to find Fiona's voice, which is presumably how M1 becomes possessed.
Recording? Test. Levels are good. This is where I heard it. It's her or someone that sounds like her. Set frequency to 4625. Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? Over. Say something. It's me, Edwin. Over.
That's good, honey, but you sing the party.
Now, Arnold can miss this completely, which is our biggest issue with our theory. However, we do know Arnold does come across F10 and 4, which is the product of the frequency stuff previously mentioned, though that could be a stretch. Though this connection with M1 continues into Danger Keep Out. In Danger Keep Out, you play in a different recreation of FNAF 1 with Dreadbear, Jacko Chica, Jacko Bonnie, and Grim Foxy. Now, how does this connect to Secret of the Mimic? Well, there's 2 interpretations we can go with here. I'll start with the weaker of the 2. First is that you have Dreadbear instead of Freddy on the stage, which is reminiscent of the bad ending in Secret of the Mimic where Arnold gets stuffed into the Proto-Fredbear suit, and on stage are Proto-Bonnie and Proto-Chica. Thus you have Dreadbear as Fredbear, essentially replicating this bad ending scene. The other interpretation is within the name of this game section itself, Danger Keep Out. In the end of your adventures at MCM, you can choose to betray Dispatch, who is secretly Fiona, aka M1, in which M1 has this to say.
What are you doing? That area is off limits. You have made your choice.
Everyone tells you that she tried to warn you to stay out and away from that area. That area leading you to a FNAF 1 recreation that holds proto-FNAF 1 animatronics and proto-springlocks of Fredbear and Spring Bonnie alongside Fiona, in which in the exact minigame of Danger Keep Out, there's an Easter egg in which you can glitch out the whole world just by answering the phone. This alone helps us solve these minigames. It's essentially telling us the story of Secret of the Mimic through a different lens, a twisted version of it, the lens of Arnold, or M2, retelling that exact story of Arnold. Now this one Easter egg in Curse of Dreadbear has confused a lot of people ever since it appeared. This ship that sits in the lake from time to time and is then taken down from a kraken, in which Dreadbear also comes from this same lake, presumably from the ship being taken down. Now, before, popular belief was that this is Golden Freddy resurrecting in some way and coming back from OMC's lake, though I have another idea. In Secret of the Mimic, arguably one of the most important lore parts of the game involves a ship, a kraken, and a Dreadbear-like animatronic, the puppet show. In this puppet show, you have a ship that ends up being attacked by a kraken, aka the Rocktopus, and the ship falling due to the building collapsing, and Arnold, in the Springlock suit, falls down into where the quote-unquote lake would be, later coming back up from under the lake after escaping Dolly and walking like a dead man, walking and coming up from an area where there was ground before, now open to show a secret hatch, essentially showing a zombie rising from the ground after they should be dead, drawing a form of parallel to this Easter egg in this whole segment within Secret of the Mimic and Arnold with Dreadbear. Though why is Dreadbear being viewed as captain from Secret of the Mimic? I don't know, but that's something that we'll just have to piece together at a later time. So, with our clues from Curse of Dreadbear explained as to how that DLC connects to Arnold and Secret of the Mimic, who is our protagonist in Help Wanted 2? Well, make people believe it to be the Bonnie bully and / Cassie's father, as in this game, the Bonnie mask has some form of importance to the character, along with notes from Cassie's father being sprinkled throughout Ruin that detail him leaving for a few days. It's reasonable to believe that, yeah, this is Cassie's father who is the Bonnie bully. Though I have another interpretation that helps explain why Bonnie is important to Arnold as well as why Arnold would be here. Throughout Help Wanted 2, we get a bunch of characters asking us one question: what makes you so special? Which is a weird line to have been repeated to us by characters that seem to have no relation to one another, being Mystic Hippo, Circus Baby, and Sun.
What makes you so special?
What makes you so special? What makes you so special?
Now, two of these characters do have some form of relation, being Mystic Hippo and Sun, which are characters that are within Secret of the Mimic. And you could argue Circus Baby via all the clown imagery as well as the faceplates Dolly has. However, I digress. Though, we need to figure out who in this time would be special. Well, we can decipher some things from some voice lines Mystic Hippo gives us. Now first, I want to draw attention to Mystic Hippo's cards, as the designs on them for the front of the card isn't the same as what we see in Arnold's van. However, the back of them do have the same design as the cards Arnold has in his van. So there would be some form of history between Arnold and Mystic Hippo. So what does Mystic Hippo say to us that starts to point towards Arnold? Well, first things first, that flat out confirms to us what this weird hippo says we should be listening to for answers, in which she says that the answers are quite literally in herself.
The answers you seek are closer than you know. Perhaps they are here, in this stalking hippo.
And if that still isn't enough for you, look no further than for this line from Mystic Hippo.
You seek answers. Mystic Hippo is the answer.
Which is rather interesting for this hippo to say, as Mystic Hippo quite literally gives us answers and guides us throughout the game that ends up pushing us to defeating Glitchtrap and obtaining memories that are hidden throughout the game, though we'll get back to the memories soon. However, these next few lines really start to make me question who we really are as the player.
It needs you. She needs you.
Which is interesting as it refers to this she as an it. something without gender, which is rather interesting as the only character who actually helps something that would be considered an it and a she at the same time would be Fiona when she is inside of M1 and later the F10N4 machine, and is later helped by Arnold. Though that's not what I think helps confirm to us that we are Arnold. However, this line right here.
The key is familiar to you.
Now this key is actually the Phas wrench that's used to open the door to be able to remove the Vanny mask to do the hard mode levels in this game. Though the interesting word choice here is what makes me think this isn't someone who has recently used this item. The word familiar. Now familiar is often associated between two people or items, or a mix of the two, in which there's a history between these two items, but they have not interacted in some time. Now the fact that Cassie's father worked at the Pizzaplex using a Phas wrench while it was all run down makes me feel like it wouldn't be familiar to Cassie's father, as he still actively uses the Phas wrench. However, Arnold on the other hand has used something very similar to the Phas wrench, the Data Diver, something Arnold would get very well acquainted with throughout the events of Secret of the Mimic, and also to our knowledge has not interacted with anything like it for a long time, something he'd be familiar with as they actively use the same mechanics just in slightly different ways. So there's another connection between Arnold and the protagonist of this game. Though we can further go into Mystic Hippo as it literally mimics the tape girl within the game, saying,
Hello, can you hear me?
Which is something Glitchtrap says throughout Help Wanted 1. As well,
Why are you here? When are you? Do you remember?
it seems to be trying to remind the player of their past, purpose, and more. The M1 seems to be trying to reach out to Arnold because it recognizes him, is trying to get him to remember his past with the Murray costume manor. So what makes Arnold so special? Well, out of 12 total known teams that were sent to the Murray costume manor to get the executive access and bring it to F10N4, only Arnold was successful in doing so. He was the special Fazbear employee that would be able to fight back against the rage-filled M2 and Edwin's creations, displace Fazbear Entertainment property, get executive access, and bring it down to F10N4, in which he later activates the Cradle program, thus making mexes possible. Without Arnold, the story would be very, very different, as we wouldn't have mexes to keep M2 from coming out from his basement and causing chaos above ground. The Marys within Help Wanted 2 are also very, very interesting, as they are the FNAF 1 crew, with the marionette thrown in there for some good MCI referencing. Though what if I were to tell you that this wasn't the MCI it's referencing? However, it's referencing memories Arnold would have had with these characters. As in Secret of the Mimic, we can find on Edwin's home computer alternate Fazbear designs and puppet designs. This would be Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and the puppet, with Golden Freddy missing as well. He doesn't exist yet, which is why Golden Freddy singled out in the creation of his memory. Though let's go through how you get these memories, shall we? First is Freddy. Freddy's is obtained through being every Fazbear Blast that takes place at Fall Fest. Freddy's happens at a burned down Fall Fest, which Arnold learns of in audio logs of Secret of the Mimic.
Ed, I hope this message reaches you as soon as you get a break. I have to go help the Fall Fest crew, just for a few days until the installation is finished. It's hard to explain. I just have this terrible feeling like I need to be there so nothing goes wrong, just in case. Trisha will babysit David while I'm gone. I love you both, and I'll be back next week.
Oh, why did you go? You weren't even supposed to be there. You were supposed to be here with me and David. Oh, how am I supposed to tell David that his mother is gone? How am I supposed to raise a kid on my own? His life is ruined. My life is ruined.
Bonnie's is obtained by putting in a 4-digit code backwards in Bonkaban. 4-digit code seems to be a reference to the 4-digit code that's used to get Fiona's spirit to communicate with Edwin, something Arnold would also learn of.
Recording? Test. Levels are good. This is where I heard it. It's her or someone that sounds like her. Set frequency to 4625. Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? Over. Say something. It's me, Edwin. Over.
That's good, honey, but finishing the party.
Chica's is obtained by taking everything Chica related at the food court and mixing it together. This could work with all the Chica's Party World memorabilia just being scattered throughout Secret of the Mimic that, yet again, Arnold would see, but that's a pretty loose one. Foxy's is obtained by going through all the secret areas in the log ride and hitting the blue splats throughout them, which leads you to a lone chest in the river. Foxy is a chest in a lake in a minigame about friendship. Sounds like the secret ending of Secret of the Mimic, in which we use 3 chests and a story about friendship to calm down M2 and bring it peace. Puppets is obtained by putting in the code 1983 in the Puppet Master's dislocation level, which could be a reference to the year Charlie dies, Arnold Boss's daughter. Lastly, Golden Freddy is obtained in Fizzy Faz, where you combine 4 ingredients from the main line, then add a lonely, random can of Soda-Roni to the drink, lock the place down, and discard the drink. The only one you wouldn't have much of a memory with is obtained by combining something away from the other 4 ingredients. Though admittedly these are all more than likely just loose connections, though maybe I'm missing something that one of you can figure out. Now, the Bonnie mask. There's 2 ways to look at this for Arnold, and a third to debunk it. I'll get the debunk out of the way. Bonnie Bully. If the Bonnie Bully forgot about the bite of 83, then it'd be reasonable for this mask to be familiar to the Bonnie Bully, thus making the protagonist the Bonnie Bully. Though, I think there's a better way to look at this for Arnold. One is that he likes Bonnie because of the Spring Bonnie bobblehead and Secret of the Mimic, though that could just be there because it's the company van. However, the true answer lies in the relationship between Arnold and the Bonnie Bully. A popular theory going around is that Arnold is the father to Bonnie Bully, who's then the father to Cassie. I'm sure you're familiar with the theory that Bonnie Bully is Cassie's father, but if you're not, I'll have a video linked above to help you. Though, if Arnold is the father to the Bonnie Bully, someone had to buy that mask for the Bonnie Bully, and with the Bonnie Bully being Cassie's father, someone who actively collects Bonnie merchandise, I say that Arnold bought this for his son before passing at the end of Secret of the Mimic. That is, if he passes away. Though, why do people think Arnold is the father to the Bonnie Bully? Well, it's because of the similarities between the stories of Ruin and Secret of the Mimic, in which both protagonists are lured by a mimic, have to fight animatronics, and end up purposefully destroying one of them, and at the end presumably dies, which people use to connect Arnold to Cassie as her grandfather. There's a truck that appears not once, not twice, but 3 whole times throughout Help Wanted 1, Security Breach, and Help Wanted 2. Though why is this important? Well, Arnold specifically mentions his truck in the opening of Secret of the Mimic, with it possibly being repoed.
What? No, I'm doing it because you guys keep threatening to dock my pay and repo my truck.
So we have this truck appearing 3 times throughout the games now. Once in Curse of Dreadbear levels, once hanging near the FFPS location, and one more time throughout the Phaser Blast levels in Help Wanted 2. Interestingly, an abandoned truck that appears 3 times, and the only mention of a truck comes from Arnold in Secret of the Mimic. And the van can't be a truck because for a van to be a truck, it needs to separate cargo from cab. And I believe this is Arnold's truck that he either abandons due to being dead or just it getting repoed. The carousel has been interesting since a survival logbook that interestingly connects Crying Child to David, though that's a theory my friend TD made that I'll have linked in the description. However, this carousel we know Arnold sees and even runs through in Secret of the Mimic, as in the parachute ending, there's a burning carousel right before Arnold runs out the front door to his truck. And Help Wanted 2, there's a carousel at a Fall Fest location that ends up burning down, in a way referencing this moment in Secret of the Mimic. So what does this theory tell us? Well, it tells us that Arnold is in some way alive, or at least influencing what is happening in the modern story, as we have references to him in both Help Wanted games and Security Breach, and he may even be related to Cassie. Though what it means honestly, I don't know. He could be a ghost in Help Wanted 2, Arnold could be alive and is our player, this is someone in relation to Arnold, or someone else. It's very hard to piece together what this all means, but it's definitely something to point out, as all these connections just can't be some weird coincidence when Secret of the Mimic is literally meant to give us answers to the future holding things we've already seen. So despite what my content creator friends may say, keep looking into this. Maybe we are missing something from Security Breach, Ruin, or other games that may bring our answer. So for this, I'd have to give this theory a 7 out of 10. It has a lot of solid connections. Its biggest issue is the endpoint, as we can't figure out who the protagonist of Help Wanted 2 is, though it does start to point us towards Arnold somehow being involved in some aspect. So let's see if we can figure this out together. All right, that's all I have for this episode. So I do have some things that I kind of want to share with you all because I'm really excited. So recently I was on TD Save the Children charity event where we revealed a bunch of stuff for One More Night. So if you guys have not seen that stuff, I will have that linked in the description and in the top right of the screen if YouTube lets me. There's a limit on the stuff in the top right, so we'll see. We revealed a game that I'm making and the next One More Night event, so I'm really excited for it. So make sure that you support the event throughout the whole entire development process, as the more eyes we get on it, the more money we'll be able to raise to help out those in need. So yeah, otherwise I don't have too much planned for the coming weeks. I haven't done a video outro in a while. All I really know that I have planned for sure is the Into the Pit game note stream, which is going to be the final one, and I'm going to be opening up just a bunch of Stanchi like pins. They're like the ticket ones. I'm going to be trying to get that Golden Freddy one because it has a number 14 on it, so I thought it'd be funny. You can blame Nervous and Terminal for that one. Otherwise, that's kind of about everything that there really is to share currently. I am working on a new 14 theory. Reason being is that I feel like it's one of my bigger blunders, and I feel like I have sat on it long enough to where I've been able to figure out exactly what's trying to tell us with brand new evidence, and I'm really excited for it, and I hope you all are too. Otherwise, that's kind of about everything that I kind of have in store that I know. So expect the new and improved 14 theory as the next episode, and expect some more streams because I'm going to try to get back into streaming because I have a lot more time now. And yeah, that's about all that I have. So of course, thank you to everyone for watching this. Thank you to Rytos, Exploding Loaf, and Friend for helping me investigate this on that live stream. Thank you to everyone behind the scenes who has just helped me out just in any way, shape, and or form. And yeah, that's all I really have. So of course, thank you all so much for being here. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button, as we have a goal of, I'm going to say it, 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If we can reach 10,000 subscribers, I will do a giveaway. I don't know what it will be, but I will do one. As always, comment down below your thoughts, theories, disagreements, really anything in the whole wide world. Just remember to keep it kind, calm, and respectful as always. Share this video with your friends and families. Every single bit helps. Without further ado, I hope you all enjoyed. Have a great day, stay safe, and peace out.